feeling? You feeling okay? Okay, if 10 is fantastic and 0 is awful, what are you going to give yourself?
5.
5, 8, 7. Okay. What number? No, anybody at 10? No, okay, because that would be really dangerous. You started this session with a 10. I don't know where you're going to end up. Okay. Is anybody a 1? A 1. That's a British way of saying 1. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh wow. Okay, excellent. This is me, George Pickering, okay? If you find anything in this session useful and you want to send me an email, that's my email address. But as I said to the directors in December, this changes every year with my age. When my next birthday comes on January the 5th, it will then be George UK 33. Right, so until that date, this is my email address. What I'm going to do is give you some very quick stress management techniques, and then we're going to analyze stress, okay? And we're going to look at what might be some of your stresses at work. Is that all right? Yeah. And just like in the next or the last session, you're going to come up with some solutions. Is that okay? Yeah. And then the lady's going to come in and say, time's up, and that's it. Okay, so here is stress management technique number 1. Marry the right woman. This is my biggest tip. Marry the right woman. Of course, if you're a woman, you might want to switch that to man. This is my wife. Now, my wife comes from China, and sadly, she's never been to Africa, she's never been to Morocco. And you know one of her favourite films? Casablanca. So she said, I've got to go. I said, I've got to go to work in Morocco next week. She said, where are you going? Well, I'm flying to Casablanca. She gave me the look. The look that means what you say next may depend whether or not we have a marriage. And I said, it's only going through the airport. Okay. Anyway, she's feeling a bit sad because she couldn't come with me because she's a mathematics teacher in a secondary school. So, just to make her feel better, could I ask you all to wave at her? Okay. There we go. I know. Here. Okay. Stress management technique number 2. Take 2 chuckles 3 times a day. Okay? Remember, you've got to laugh, yes? Always take time to smile, because laughter lubricates learning. You heard that expression? Laughter lubricates, like the oil of learning. Now, yesterday, I said 1 or 2 things which I thought were useful. The one thing that everybody seemed to remember was my Obama joke. I said, what did you learn in my talk? And they said, all about horses and farting. That was anyone could remember. So I thought, okay, well, let's go for it then. Okay. So this is Obama joke number 2. This was when he was the president, okay? And he and Michelle decide to go out for a meal in a local restaurant. They decide to do something different. So they go there with the Secret Service, they go to the restaurant, and then the owner of the restaurant asks if he can speak in private with the First Lady. So Michelle goes and has a conversation with the man. Comes back to the table, and Obama asks want to speak to you. And she says, well, dear, when we were teenagers, we were madly in love with each other. So Obama says, so if you had married him, you would now be the owner of this lovely restaurant. And Michelle says, no, if I had married him, he would now be the president. Go back to stress management technique, married a right woman. Okay, the last one is mix with positive people. Yes. Would you agree?
Yes.
Yeah, because we are all, what we do, our moods are contagious. But mix with the right people, okay? Hang out with the right people. And it's all good. Right, okay. Now, I don't know what you're like at work. Is this you at work? Is this you at work? No? Yes? Well, you haven't had Emily's session, have you yet? You have Emily's session, and then you're going to be like that. Is that you? Superwoman? Superman? Or is this you? Are you good at juggling? No? Do you find that life's a bit of a juggle? Yes? Work, life, etc., etc.? Okay. So, here's the question. How long have you worked for ALC? I just want to see how many people we've got in this room and how long you've worked for ALC. Who's worked for ALC for under a year? Less than a year. Oh, well done, well done. Excellent. Okay. Who's worked for ALC? Some of you are going, oh my God, how many years? Okay. Who's worked for ALC for something between 1 year and 3 years?
1 year, 3 years.
1 year and 3 years. Keep your hand up if you've already. Keep your hand up. Keep your hand up. That's right. Yeah. Who goes from 3 to 5 years? Okay. Let's go 5 to 10 years. Wow. And who hasn't put their hand up yet? Wow. So you're all 10 plus years. Wow. Goodness me.
5 years.
So we'll talk to the director about you having a special spa treatment, I think. You work for the organisation for this long. Definitely. Right, okay. Here's what I want you to do. I just want you to spend a moment telling one other person what you are proud about your work. Something about what you do that you're proud about, or your centre. Is that clear?
Yes.
Now the rule is you have to say this to someone who is in a different centre. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So this is called fast and dirty dating, right? So very quickly, you have got 90 seconds. I want you to stand up, find somebody, have that conversation, and then when I do this again, remember?
Yeah.
Right? Do you remember?
Yeah.
You have to applaud, okay? So I want you all to clap. Okay, so you got 90 seconds. Go. This is your home. Very nice. What else? Family. Sense of family. Wonderful. Anything else?
I spoke with Suad, and he said that it's hard sometimes to mediate between teachers and students and make sure everybody feels happy.
Yeah.
But that in the end, we do make people feel happy, and so we're proud of that.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Pardon?
And as I told Teresa, I told her that sometimes it's embarrassing situations between teachers and students.
Yes.
You have to deal it sharply and both of them to be such a special quantity.
What? You're the bridge.
Yes.
And you're the mediators. That's right. Excellent. Well done. Okay. Fantastic. Right. So, qu'est-ce que c'est le stress? C'est quoi? What is stress? What is stress?
Yes,
Sorry? Okay, it can lead to burnout.
make it down. Don't be stressed.
Right.
Try to calm yourself.
Right, okay, so if you get stressed, you're down. Yes, you go down. Very good. Anything else?
One, if you don't know how to deal with any kind of problem.
Yeah.
But I think, as long as you are a positive person,
Yes.
you know how to solve any kind of problem.
Okay.
Because of your kind of positive, of course, you can have a great team,
Yeah.
work together. I don't think it's going to be a problem. There is no stress.
Right, so it's the way you respond
Yeah.
to situations. I think that is very important. Thank you. So, knowing the difference between Casablanca and El Tejido is very important. Yeah? How to get from one to the other. That's really important. Yeah. Anything else?
The feeling that everything and each detail in your life is urgent.
Yeah, sense of urgency. You've got to do it now. Now. Yeah? Oh my God, what's the time? Look, I carry 2 watches just in case. I've got English time, I've got Moroccan time, and I think there are 2 Moroccan times. Is that right? I do. Oh my God, I'm really stressed. Oh yeah. Okay, here's a definition. As you can see, it's an old definition. It's by the grandfather of stress management. A physical and emotional response to events which can have a positive or negative effect and is essential to life. So a certain amount of stress can be good for you, okay? It is in fact the fight or flight response. You know this, yeah? So if you're faced with a danger, for example, you want to get this response, don't you? You want to get out of there, yeah? You want to fight or you want to flight. Imagine you're going through a jungle with somebody else, right? And all of a sudden you're confronted by a tiger. And your partner starts to put on their Nike trainers, right? And you say, don't be stupid, you can't run faster than the tiger. And he says, no, but I can run faster than you. At that point, you want the stress response. Do you agree? The difficulty comes that we get the stress response when we can't take action. Do you see? How many of you have been in one of those tin machines, otherwise known as a car? Right? And you go down the road, and you know, how do you feel sometimes? Very stressed. And the people in the other car are waving at you or making gestures and all the rest of it, and how do you feel? Stressed. But can you do anything with that stress? Very difficult, isn't it? Because you're in that tin box. Okay. So there are different types of stress, and it is possible to have not enough stress. 0 stress. Look at this poor man. Now, this is what some of you were talking about, you see. That stress can help you up to a point. You get to an optimum, and then it becomes a negative. When you get too much stress, or when you get stress too frequently, when you get chronic stress, then it can cause problems. Now I want to give you a bit of personal background here. Not something I tell everybody. I've already introduced you to my family. But I'm also going to introduce you to something that I don't go anywhere without. This is? It's a pen? What pen?
Epi.
Epi? What's an epi?
It's like for adrenaline.
Ah, this isn't for adrenaline. No, this is for insulin.
That's a
Insulin. Insulin, thank you. I'm learning every day. Yes. The reason I have this is because I went through a very stressful episode when I first ever set up a language center. And I was very and I got very stressed. And I became diabetic because of that fact, which is why I always like to talk to people about stress and how you can manage it more effectively, because that's something I learned the hard way. Okay, so these are some of the consequences. You can have sleep problems. You can have an appetite problem, you can lose your appetite, you get mood swings, you know, so you're a bit crazy, you're not balanced, you can lack concentration, you can't focus, you become intolerant, you don't understand other people, and there's the other one that you can read for yourself. All of these things. If you got 5 out of 6, don't worry. I am a trained counsellor, speak to me later on. Seriously, these are some of the consequences of stress. And the long-term ones, you know, you ever get a bad neck ache and things like this, when you sit down and all that sort of stuff, yeah. Oh dear me, it makes me feel stressed looking at that. Now, what about that? This is apparently comes from Japan, and it's a way of finding out whether or not you are likely to get stressed. Now the question is, are you one of those people for which those lines are moving? Yeah? Because you perhaps are more likely to get stressed, okay? And when they've done this, they found that the people who find the lines moving quite a lot. Anybody who's finding the lines move a lot, quite a lot? Yeah, 1 or 2 people? Because they worked out that those people are criminals, right? So, yeah, okay. Well done. To be honest. Very good. Right, okay. Oh no, I'm just taking my briefcase to the crash and the baby to the meeting. Yeah. Okay. So here are basically the causes. The first one is the environment, which means other people, your working environment. I think a very clever Frenchman said something like l'enfer c'est les autres. Ah ouais, il a dit ça, oui? Yes, he did. Right. Hell is other people. Can be. Then you've got your responses, your psychological responses to stress. And excessive rumination means you keep thinking about the things that you've done wrong. You know what I mean? Oh my God, I'm stupid. And some people have what we call negative self-talk. You talk to yourself in a way that you would never talk to somebody else.
Yeah.
Anyone done that?
Yes.
Yeah. You call yourself a silly Billy, or worse, one of the words I use sometimes to myself, and pretend you don't get it, you wanker, I say to myself when I look in the mirror. And it's difficult, yeah? Do you have that self-talk?
Yes. Yeah.
One of the things you can do, though, is you can retrain yourself to change your self-talk. so that it sounds differently. What you can do is, you can take that voice, you can put it sort of on your big toe, and imagine it going, you idiot. So if you're one of those people who calls yourself an idiot, you idiot, right? Just say it to yourself. 20, is that my score out of 20? Well done. Okay. So you can say to yourself, I want you to put on a sort of chuckly voice. And then say to yourself, you idiot. Come on, you can do it. Try it. Remember when I said yesterday, though, self-talk is really about the questions you ask yourself. Remember I said yesterday? Can anyone remember some of the questions I suggested you ask yourself? What would make you feel good? Smiling was one of the things. Yeah. 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 Three kinds of smile. Right.
And you have to repeat that all the time, which is good for you.
Well,
I do that every day. And one.
Okay.
And hee, one poo-poo, one ha-ha-ha-ha-ha.
The next one is masturbation. Have you come across this? This is people who go around saying, I must do this, I must do that. I must. Okay, so that's another one to avoid, right? Not all this must. Think about what your priority is. Would you agree? Yeah. Think about what is the most important thing you should be doing. But don't go must. Okay. And then you've got your physiological responses to stress. In other words, your body. And also, what you put into your body is what sometimes comes out of your body, if you know what I mean. So, garbage in, garbage out sort of thing. Yeah? If you eat the right foods, you drink the right things, you're going to be healthy, wealthier. That's right. And there's a story about a person who went along to the doctors and they said, Doctor, I'm afraid of dying. And the doctor said, right, I want you to give up smoking, I want you to give up drinking, and none of that thing that we saw earlier on. Don't do any of that. And he said, oh, thank you, doctor. Will I live longer? And he said, no, but it will seem longer. So, think about yourself. Your body is your temple, yeah, but also, take time to have fun. Okay, definitely work with it. Okay. Now, this is another big one these days. Choices. Can you see this? I come from the United Kingdom, right, where we don't really do coffee. We do sort of hot water with a little funny thing in it, yeah? But in the good old days, you go into a shop and you say, can I have a coffee? Can I have a coffee, please? And that would be it. You say, they give you the coffee. And now they go, yeah, what do you want? Latte, espresso, cappuccino, decaf? And I go, just give me a coffee. Life is getting more complicated, isn't it? Yeah. So choosing is one of those things that can be stressful. Any history of physical activity? There is a serious point here, yeah? I mean, as I say, the great thing about this hotel to keep you fit is not going to the spa, it's getting to the spa. The best thing, you had your walk, haven't you, in the morning? I'm on 3,462 steps. And all I've done is go from my bedroom and here and back. It's quite amazing, yeah. So physical activity is important as well. So stuff happens to us, yeah? Do you remember? This was what was he called? I can't remember his name, it'll come back to me in a minute. But stuff happens. Oh, that's right, Forrest Gump. Remember that one? His famous expression? Shit happens, right? Do you remember that one? Very profound, yeah? Okay, so something happens, a stressor, we perceive it as good or bad, and then we respond. So we're not always responsible to what happens to us, but we are responsible to how we respond. Yeah? Okay, so there are various stressors at work, and in a moment I'm going to give you a handout. And we're going to think about what are possibly some of the stresses at work to you. Now, of course, the interesting thing is, Neil doesn't have to take the filing cabinet home, does he? It's all on his smart, you know, it's all, you know. So, complete the questionnaire. Now, I am going to see if we can have a little competition here. Okay, what I'd like you to do is, let's see which of these gentlemen finishes their job first. Okay, go. I have got some more if you need them. Thank you very much. Okay, folks. Now, I'm going to give you. I'm going to give you a health warning here, not a health warning, but a health warning. You're going to be looking at how stressful you find these things. Now, the first one says, my relationship with my boss. Now, if your boss is in the room, you might want to miss that one. Alright? Or leave that one blank. Just give it a 0. Alright? That would be the right thing to do. So go down, and if it isn't stressful at all for you, give it a 0. If it's so-so, comme ci, comme ça, maybe a 3. And if it is something that you do find very stressful, give it a 5. Alright? So fill in the form. Give you a couple of minutes on this one. guru, right? Someone who gives you wisdom and advice. And I have a guru, and he's given me 2 pieces of advice that I've always remembered. His first piece of advice was, life is too short to learn German. That was his first piece of advice. And sometimes I sit and I think, the second piece of advice is, no one dies wishing they had sent more emails. Do you agree? Yeah. So seriously, you've all got different stresses, but the one that many people, I think, have an issue with these days is emails, social media messages. Do you agree? It can be very delightful keeping in touch with people, but if you're not careful, it can be kind of stressful, can't it? Yeah? So what I want you to do is to think about one of those things you find stressful and think about how you could manage it better. Now, if you have a look on the back side, and you see extending your circle of influence, a very nice quotation from Maya Angelou, who said, if you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude. So that's basically it, folks, right? Yeah. Your options are, firstly, you can get out of the situation, you can avoid it. The second option is try and change the situation in some way. The third thing is change your attitude towards it. You do what we call a reframe. Yeah? Sometimes if people are annoyed at you, sometimes you think, oh, terrible, they're criticizing me. But actually, it's because they care. Do you agree? Yeah? If you were doing something wrong at work, or if there was something you were doing that someone didn't like, would you want them to tell you? You would, wouldn't you? Yeah? You're giving them a gift, aren't you? Yeah? So you can do a reframe. If someone says something and they say, oh, why are they telling me this? Oh, that's good. They care enough to tell you. Yeah? They care to tell you. Okay. Right, so this is where you can focus on those things. Now, I just want to point out one thing, because we've not got too many minutes, but can you see at the bottom techniques for managing stress? And broadly speaking, you can do different things. You can either relax your system or you can stimulate it. You can either do something psychological or physiological. Can you see that? So you can do any of those things. And as some of you pointed out yesterday, you can jog and you can also dance. And in a few minutes, you're going to get the chance to do a kind of mindfulness meditation with Emily. Where are you, Emily? There she is, yeah. So you've got these different ways, yeah? So you can decide which is the right way for you. Okay. Now, have a look, just for a couple of moments, at something that you find stressful. And I would just like you to look at number 3. Can you avoid the situation? Can you alter the situation? Or can you alter your attitude? Is that okay? And I want you just to spend a moment talking to one other person about this for about 2 minutes. Is that okay? So talk to one other person. If you haven't got a partner, put your hand up and I will find you one. When I asked you yesterday, what was the metaphor for your school? You all talked about things like family, village, garden, etc., etc., etc. Now, if you think about your village or if you think about your garden, sometimes some people need a bit of watering, don't they? Some of the roses need watering, sometimes they need pruning. So what I would like you to think about when you go back to your centres, who needs your help? Who can you help? They help you, you help them, yeah? And think about people who maybe are a bit quieter than normal, see what you can do to help them. Say that when you give someone a flower, some of the fragrance stays in your own hands, yeah? So think about what you can do to help the other people that you work with. Okay. Now I'd just like us to finish with a very simple activity. Can you just all stand up?